One way in which our film opening develops conventions of a psychological thriller is by including death. A large part of all psychological thriller films include death, and we felt this was a necessary part of the genre, so we did the same. However, our death is included as a suicide as part of our character's mental disorder, which is multiple personality disorder. From the start, we felt that this put a twist on the plot, leaving the audience with questions such as why did she kill herself? Another way in which we stuck to the psychological thriller conventions is by showing a deep focus of our character's state of mind, clearly distinguishing between the lines of reality and perception. This is evident when our main character sees a reflection of herself in the mirror, only to find that it is her alternate personality. This is also shown by the soundtrack, which plays a voice representing her instability in her mind. One way our film opening challenges typical conventions is by the lack of a dialogue. This is unusual in film openings which include one or more characters. We felt that a lack of script will engage the audience more as they will be totally focused on the character and her actions. Another way in which we challenged conventions was by making our film opening in black and white, with the intention of reverting it back to colour for the rest of the film. Movies in black and white often have the connotation of being old. However, many modern-day filmmakers use this technique, such as Quentin Tarantino and Steven Spielberg. Moreover, it is not often found in most modern-day movies, but we felt that it would work well with the lack of a script, meaning that the audience will again be totally focused on our main character and her actions.
Our media product is an opening scene which follows the genre of psychological thriller. Our main character is a female in her early 20s who suffers from multiple personality disorder. We chose to have a female protagonist as most psychological thrillers are portrayed through a leading male character, such as Seven, Shutter Island, and Memento. We decided to have a leading female as they portray emotions better compared to men. Females are usually portrayed to be very vulnerable and more emotionally weak compared to men. We have shown this through our mirror scene, where she is severely shocked when encountering her other personality. However, in some movies that do have leading female characters, such as Girl Interrupted, The Three Faces of Eve, and Black Swan, all of these movies have their female in the early 20s and they all suffer from mental personality disorder. We decided to keep this the same and also have the leading female character in the early 20s. Stereotypically, people who suffer from disability are usually associated with physical disability. However, our character looked like a regular girl who suffered from mental disability, which is not evident through her appearance. Media institutions such as Winston Company and Screen Gems would be interested into distributing our media product because in the previous years both of these companies have distributed medium budget movies with a similar genre. Winston Company distributed movies such as Hannibal Rising and Cassandra's Dream. In addition to that, Screen Gems distributed movies similar to our genre such as Arlington Road and Untraceable. These two distributing companies have not previously worked before, so this would be a great collaboration for them to produce our media project. As our media product is a mixture of a social realistic film and a psychological thriller, the budget for our media product is likely to be cheaper compared to other movies produced by Winston Company and Screen Gems. Winston Company's budget varies from $100,000 for movies such as Wordplay to blockbusters such as Miss Porter, whose budget was $30 million.
The media product we produced was a short opening scene to a movie. The genre we chose was psychological thriller, and our opening scene was quite mysterious and gruesome. Psychological thriller film conventions are eerie, mysterious music, dark scenarios, and a twisted plot throughout about unstable emotional states of characters. We followed these conventions when we were making our opening scene by including mysterious music and making the opening scene in black and white. The protagonist in our movie was a girl in her early 20s who was suffering from multiple personality disorder. As a group, we conducted a questionnaire before making our opening scene so we could get a deeper insight into our unidentified audience. We learned that males were more likely to watch the genre we were portraying rather than females, and the age group that were more likely to watch it was 25 to 44-year-olds. This enabled us to understand better who our main audience would be for our media product and who we should be targeting our opening scene towards. A psychological thriller would appeal to our specific audience as they can empathize and remain engaged through our opening scene.
As a group, we conducted a questionnaire to find out what our audience really preferred. By addressing questions such as, have you ever watched any psychological movies? If so, did you like them? Would a death in the opening scene entice you to continue watching a film? And what is your opinion on thriller movies? Through our questionnaire and our audience's feedback, we have included their personal preferences such as a death scene, as it would keep them engaged and encourage them to watch further on. From our questionnaire, through the results, we see that 75% of people either liked or loved thriller films. This is a good result, as we now know that people do like thriller movies, which helped us to carry on building our plot. Since we found out that thriller was the third most popular genre from our questionnaire, we wanted to gain further information about why the genre was so popular and what our target audience really thought about it. Through our results, we learned that 65% of people would be willing to watch the movie further on, whereas only tiny 2.5% felt that it would not entice them. The results clearly indicated that we should include a death scene, and it was what people wanted to see. Our opening scene has a girl in her early 20s who suffers from personality disorder, which makes the audience sympathize with her, enabling them to relate with her further on. We also researched previous psychological thriller blockbusters such as Black Swan and 3 Faces of Eve. Both of these movies we researched had female as their main characters, which is quite similar to our media product. Moreover, both of these movies have been quite successful amongst the public, regardless of the fact that their main characters are female.
A new technology we were introduced to was Final Cut Pro. This video editing software is a very popular application in the film industry, and we learnt many new skills editing our own film opening with it. Here you see the timeline, which includes where the clip goes, what order it goes in, what effects are added, and how the soundtrack fits in. The first feature that we learned how to use was the timeline. This was relatively quick as it was very simple and straightforward. One of the first effects that we used while editing was the opacity feature. This effect was relatively simple but very effective. Here you see me using 2 clips which are layered over each other. I then adjust the opacity to around 50%. This means that you can now see both newspaper clips with an interesting added effect. Another vital feature we learned how to use was the tools. This helped us navigate through the timeline and trim clips that were too long. We also used the zoom feature to be extremely precise in our trimmings, which helped the flow of our opening. Another technique we used was manipulation. Like the newspaper clip, I layered 2 clips over each other and then used the crop tool to trim one side of the clip. As we were recorded in the same angle, it appears to be recorded in one take. Here's how it looked in the final. Additionally, whilst recording, we used an SLR camera. Like Final Cut Pro, this took some time getting used to. We decided to use an SLR because we wanted to deliver the highest possible quality to our audience.
Our preliminary task was the first project that introduced editing and film shots properly to us as a group. Moreover, through the preliminary task, we learned the basic of Final Cut Pro, which enhanced our understanding of editing and Final Cut Pro 10. As our full product progressed and developed, we understood the importance of editing scene and perfecting the mirror scene, which was one of our biggest obstacles. As no one in our group had experienced or attempted to edit a scene like this previously, it was harder for us to edit it at the right time. Moreover, cutting at the right moment was important too, as we had to ensure to get the fluency of the scene. As we had recorded each scene from several different angles, it was vital for us to choose the right scene which fitted perfectly together with the subsequent scene. Nevertheless, the planning for the opening scene was quite time-consuming and difficult. We had to make sure that our opening scene did not mimic a trailer nor did it give away our plot. Choosing the right soundtrack was essential to us, as it had to reflect the emotions and create the dramatic effect we required to create for that particular scene. Overall, from the start of the prelim task till the end of our full product, we have learned a tremendous amount regarding camera angles, flow of scenes, relevant soundtrack, and in-depth editing.